Adam. I'm the coach of the Titletown Tyrantrums, and we are back for our Week 2 Team Builder and Match recap. If you didn't watch Week 1 or our draft recap, I recommend you go and do both of those first, so that you know what 11 Pokemon we can potentially bring, and also how we got to Week 2. So go do that first, and if you've done that, we're going to continue on. As you now know, we had a heartbreaking loss to the Swindon Fletchlings in Week 1, and so we're hoping to bounce back to a much more solid 1-1 record after Week 2. This week we are playing the Golden State Flygons. They are a newcomer to our first official season. If you want to know what 11 Pokemon the coach was potentially bringing, you can see those in a wonderful layout now below. You can also see the 6 Pokemon that I ended up bringing to the match. There were a couple changes that I made very early in the morning before we actually played this match, and so I will talk about those changes when I get there. But without any further questions, comments, concerns, we are going to jump right in and move on with it. So our first Pokemon that we elected to bring was Alark the Skarmory with Rocky Helmet and Sturdy. Alark's major purpose was to Stealth Rock. We wanted Stealth Rocks up going into this match, mostly for Volcarona, who can set up and sweep so easily if given the chance with Quiver Dance and Fiery Dance. So, I mean, I love Volcarona. I love working with. I was hoping to draft it, but I can even say that when it takes 50% on entry from Stealth Rocks, it's on a timer automatically. I wasn't going to not bring Stealth Rocks, knowing that I could potentially have to play Volcarona this week. I elected for Whirlwind so that I could, maybe mess some things up when they tried to switch in while they're going right back out and taking more Stealth Rock damage. Also Defog, just because if I ended up needing Mega Pinsir, I needed to stay alive, and I wasn't going to let it take, 25 or 50% from rocks. And then finally Brave Bird, just in case I had to Brave Bird, the Volcarona or the Venusaur, or even the Slowbro. I wanted some form of damage output so that it wouldn't come down to Skarmory and something and not being able to damage it. So that was Skarmory, pretty standard as far as I'm concerned. High HP, sky high defense, high special defense. It was mostly my defensive wall and my hazard setter. Can't say much else about it other than that. Obviously, all 6 of my Pokemon are still following the Vampire Diaries naming theme. Once again, if you have a problem with it, you can fight me. Here's my address on the screen. Did you look? It's not there. I lied. Don't come and fight me. I'm weak. So next up we have Rose, the Rose Raid, holding the Assault Vest with Technician. I elected to run Hitter and Power Fighting because of the relatively large fighting weakness that my opponent's team has in T-Tar, Cinccino, Kangaskhan, and Umbreon. I also elected Sludge Bomb and Energy Ball, both high-powered stab moves, and Shadow Ball. Really, I was going to run Toxic Spikes, but when I decided to run Assault Vest on it, couldn't run Toxic Spikes anymore, and so I was like, well, I didn't bring Shadow Ball last week, and I ended up really needing it, so we're bringing Shadow Ball this week. So 248 HP, 252 special attack, and 8 special defense, but of course with Assault Vest, its special defense gets boosted. Rose Raid was my dedicated specially defensive wall, and also my specially defensive attacker if I needed it. With 193 in special attack, that is nothing to laugh at, especially with Stab, Sludge Bomb, and Energy Ball, which hit between the two of them just about everything that my opponent could bring, at least for neutral. Next up we have Enzo the Mega Pinsir. We all met Mega Pinsir last week. Pretty standard set of Close Combat, Swords Dance, Quick Attack, and Return. Again, I elected Close Combat over Earthquake this week because of the fighting weaknesses, and because of Enzo's high damage output, really there was no reason that I needed to run Earthquake over, say, Swords Dance. Really, Earthquake only hits the Jolteon any better. That, Quick Attack and Return can't. I made sure the EVs were right this week with 252 in attack and 252 in speed. Also, in the future, I will remember that Pinsir needs to be a regular Pinsir with Pinsirite. I know this from last week. I know we had problems with this last week. I forgot that it was going to be another custom game because Volcarona could potentially be coming this week. That's just the way that it happened. It didn't actually end up playing any sort of problem in the match. I'll talk about it when we get there. But I am aware it should be a regular pincer. I am aware that it was already megaed in the match. We'll talk about it. We'll get over it. So moving on to our first change for this team. I played this match, spoilers, at 8 in the morning on Sunday. I was exhausted. I was out of town. I was doing all of this off of my tablet. And I had originally had Kai the Mew with Roost, Power Up Punch, Super Fang, and Thunder Punch. And of course I was running Thunder Punch to hit the Mega Slowbro, but I realized very quickly that not only is Mega Slowbro so much more physically defensive, I already knew it was physically defensive, but so much so that Thunder Punch wasn't going to really cut it, but also that Power Up Punch wasn't going to be a helpful enough setup when I was going to barely be alive from, this Mega Slowbro scalding me. So I elected to change it to a specially defensive set, which it should have been from the get-go, with Calm Mind and Energy Ball. I still kept Super Fang in case it decided to set up. I could do half damage right away, force it to Roost, and then maybe phase it out with Whirlwind from Skarmory or something else if it had set up a bunch of Calm Minds and I wasn't able to deal, as much damage as I wanted to. So otherwise, pretty basic set with special defense, special attack, and HP. But that's Kai the Mew. His set did change. He was different than he was originally going to be, and if I hadn't changed it, potentially would have changed the outcome of the match. I will say that right now. For the fifth member of our team this week, we brought Elena the Milotic. We've met Elena as well with Toxic, Scald, Recover, and Mirror Coat. I elected Mirror Coat this week over Ice Beam because of the Jolteon and the Volcarona and the Venusaur. All three of those could deal massive special damage to me, and I wasn't going to play around with trying to scald the Jolteon or trying to scald the Venusaur when I could just let them hit me, theoretically live it with 187 special defense and 201 HP, and then Mirror Coat back, double the damage, recover if I have to. Of course, the only attacking move then ends up being Scald, which is unfortunate if Gastrodon is Storm Drain. But other than that, I think Mirror Coat is the better of the two moves to bring to this match. And then, of course, Toxic as the fourth move, just for anything that really has to be Toxic so that it's on a timer. And the last Pokemon I decided to bring was the other major change that I made. I decided to bring Jeremy the Noivern with Life Orb and Frisk. Originally, I was going to bring my Choice Scarfed Mienshao with High Jump Kick, Knockoff, U-Turn, and I believe Stone Edge for the Volcarona. But I decided that I was going to bring the Choice Scarf to deal with Cinccino, because Cinccino is absolutely, more dangerous than you think, especially if you Choice Band it or Choice Scarf it. With all of its 5x hitting moves, Stab, Tail Slap actually does plenty of damage to almost everything on my team, minus potentially Skarmory. And so if he ended up Choice Scarfing it, or really Choice Scarfing anything that could deal a lot of damage, Mienshao just isn't quite fast enough, doesn't quite have the damage output. I just elected to abandon Choice Scarf altogether and bring Noivern instead with Roost and Taunt. I was going to try to bring it in potentially on Mega Slowbro and taunt it so it couldn't set up Calm Minds. And then Draco Meteor does a bunch of damage to just about everything on his team. And of course I could reduce any damage away. And also with Frisk, I could tell what items his Pokemon had, and that ended up being extremely important in the match. So I brought Jeremy the Noivern instead of Damon or Mienshao, and I think that it was a good decision. Overall, how much it actually impacted the match, I can't really say. But those are our 6 Pokemon: Noivern, Milotic, Mew, Mega Pinsir, Roserade, and Skarmory. So now that we're done with that, in a second we will get right into the recap of our Week 2 match.
Alright guys, I am now back with the match recap portion of the video. A couple things to note right away. As I mentioned, I know that the Mega Pinsir is already in its Mega form, as was my opponent's Mega Slowbro. I've seen his Week 1 video. He did not put it as regular Slowbro in that video either. And I messaged him as soon as we got into this battle saying, hey, we have to make our Megas regular, holding their Mega Stone. Both of us do. I didn't realize we were doing a custom battle right away. I didn't get a reply from my opponent. I waited. He put the timer on. I messaged him again. Still got nothing. So I waited the timer out. And with no luck one way or the other, I just decided that if Pinsir or Slowbro automatically being in their mega forms ended up impacting the battle, as in their speed definitely determined the outcome of the match, I would have my opponent replay it with me, but otherwise I was just going to play it out and see what happens. So it was near the end of the timer. I elected to just roll with it. I hadn't decided on a lead yet, so I ultimately decided to lead with my Noivern, because I could either drop a Draco Meteor on something, I could taunt something, or I could frisk an item. I was really okay with either of those three options. My opponent ultimately elected to lead with his Aerodactyl, and I frisked its Choice Band. And seeing a Choice Band is not what I wanted to see, because Aerodactyl hits relatively hard without it, but with it, it's going to hit, just immensely hard. Aerodactyl in non-mega form has 105 attack, and I knew that Aerodactyl outsped me as 130 base speed, so even a timid max speed Noivern can't outspeed it at base 123. So I essentially had to decide if I wanted to sacrifice Noivern or sacrifice something else. I had nothing that was going to outspeed it, so I basically had to see what it locked itself into and make a switch from there. So I elected to leave my Noivern in. It took an Ice Fang. It wasn't going to live on Ice Fang. There was no chance of it living. But I saw he locked himself into Ice Fang, so I switched into my Milotic, which prompted a switch into Gastrodon, to which I Scalded. I was hoping to Scald the Aerodactyl, or really anything else. I guess I didn't expect the Gastrodon of all things to come in. I should have, just get the Storm Drain boost, but I didn't. And while that was okay, then I missed my Toxic on top of that, and he landed his, so that was kind of just an unfortunate sequence of events. With no Ice Beam, I elected to stay in the Toxic again, which resulted in the Venusaur switch, which I should have definitely seen coming. He wasn't going to leave that Gastrodon in there unnecessarily. Clearly, he just kind of wanted me to Toxic me, thinking that he could live a hit. Here I hoped that Venusaur would try to Giga Drain me, so I decided to Mirror Coat, and of course, you see he Leech Seeded, which sucked even more. It was essentially 3 turns where all I lost was, almost 40% of my Lotic's health, and got a Toxic and got nothing in return, except a Toxic on Gastrodon, or not even a Toxic on Gastrodon, so it was a Mist Toxic. So at this point, I switched into Skarmory, he switched into Mega Slowbro. I decided to get my rocks up. If anything else, Skarmory needed to get rocks up in this match because Volcarona was here. Took the Fire Fang like a champ because it was physically bulky. I decided to Whirlwind him out, hoping for Volcarona, not getting it, but Jolteon was good too. At this point, I felt like Skarmory had sort of lived enough. It had done what it was supposed to do, so I let it take the Thunderbolt. I knocked it out. Obviously, he's not as especially bulky as it was physically bulky, and he was running Life Orb Jolteon. I elected to bring in Roserade here because I knew that it was definitely going to have a good enough damage output to basically take anything out that tried to switch in, especially with Sludge Bomb. I don't think anything would have taken it extremely well, with the exception of maybe Venusaur. At this point, I knew I wasn't going to live whatever Aerodactyl was probably going to do to me because it was a Choice Band, so I decided to switch, whether it was Ice Fang, Fire Fang, or even Flying type or Rock type move. I knew I could probably live with Milotic, which is why I elected Milotic as my switch in, and I also knew that bringing Milotic in would probably force Aerodactyl back out and bring something else in, which was good. So we see the Venusaur. I elected to recover, just because whatever Aerodactyl was going to do, I wanted my HP back from it, and I knew I could live it. But when Venusaur came in, there was no way I was going to make a stand save again. I wasn't going to risk it Leech Seeding me and just basically take a hit for free. So I elected to switch to my Rose Raid. I hoped it was a special Venusaur, and it was. It used Giga Drain on me. I can take those Giga Drains all day. At this point, we get into a Sludge Bomb fight. Essentially, I was doing slightly more damage than he was with a crit, so I knew that I could potentially win the fight had he not gotten the crit. But with that crit, he would have been able to knock the Rose Raid out, but he elected to Sleep Powder. I'm not sure what my opponent was thinking here. You definitely don't Sleep Powder a Grass type, and you definitely don't Sleep Powder a Grass type that you probably could have knocked out unless I had gotten the crit, because he had enough HP to survive even probably a high roll with my Sludge Bomb. So I don't really know what his goal was there. But with the Sleep Powder miss, it wouldn't have made a difference. It basically allowed me to Sludge Bomb him and KO him because I outsped. The Volcarona came in at 50% of its health. At this point, I decided that Rose Raid has just about served its purpose as well. I would have liked to keep it alive, but with no recovery, no way to get it any more HP. I would have had to get it on basically sacrificing something else to bring it in. So I elected to let Volcarona take me out as well. I did Sludge Bomb for what it's worth. Thinking that if Volcarona decided to set up, Sludge Bomb probably could have done, a decent amount of damage, maybe even almost taking out at 50% from the rocks. I see that his Volcarona is Life Orb. I feel like usually you run Leftovers or Lumberry or something of the sort on Volcarona. I tend not to run Life Orb personally. When I run Volcarona, I like to keep it alive as long as possible with Leftovers. This play with my Mega Pinsir in return is where I say that no matter whether my Pinsir was Mega'd already or not, it did not matter in this match, as Mega Pinsir, even on a bold 252 HP, 252 defense, Volcarona deals like 60 some percent, no matter what, and it only had 40% of its health remaining. So he would have had to have a berry to reduce a super effective flying type move, and he didn't. He had Life Orb. So as much as it kind of sucks that the Megas were already Mega'd, I could have quick attacked just the same. I elected to return because if he switched into something else, return would do more damage, obviously. And you figure in a regular match, that might have been the one difference, is something else coming in and taking a quick attack. But as it stands, he took the 40% damage to his health. He would have taken upwards of almost 68, I believe. I had the damage calc open earlier. So as unfortunate as it is that they were Mega before the battle began, it did not matter in this particular match. So Mega Pinsir gets killed on Volcarona. With return, it could have been quick attack, didn't make a difference. Because I knew Aerodactyl outsped everything, I didn't want to risk quick attack not taking it out. So I brought my Lifton again. Again, my Lifton can basically live any 1 or 2 hits from this Aerodactyl, and I let him choice himself into something. And then I get a free Toxic off. I was going to Toxic the Aerodactyl in case he tried to sit it on me. But I was just as okay with Toxicking the Gastrodon. I probably would Toxic the Gastrodon before recovering anyway. At this point, we're both Toxic. It's a Toxic match. There's no reason for me to stay in on this and just lose HP unnecessarily. I wouldn't be able to kill him unless I mirror coded, so I switched into my Mew. Originally, I was going to take this opportunity to set up as many Calm Minds as possible, but once he used Toxic on me, I decided that I really only need one at this point in the match. So he's going to withdraw. I don't know what move he potentially thought I had, maybe something not to hit Mega Slowbro, but I brought Energy Ball as my only attacking move for Mega Slowbro. So Mega Slowbro was done at this point. He can protect all he wants, he wasn't going to be able to Toxic Stall me with Roost. And I also had Calm Mind, so Mega Slowbro was done. One more Energy Ball is going to take it out. When he switched next, he brought in Aerodactyl again. And as mentioned, my Loptic can live any 1 hit from this Aerodactyl, so I wanted to see what he's going to lock himself into. It was Earthquake, it only did 31%, I'm at 49, I can live another one unless it crits. And it didn't, so I got a free Scald Off on the Aerodactyl. and that left only Gastrodon to be sent out. And so I had Mega Pinsir at full health, Milotic at toxic, but I could recover, and I believe I could potentially outspeed, I don't remember, but I could recover up my HP, or switch into Mew, who would be able to live, I believe, anyone hit from a Gastrodon and Roost or Energy Ball. So at this point, my opponent's pretty much done. He elected to forfeit and end the match. Though Milotic was the last one out, I discussed with our chairperson of the league, and we elected to award the kill to Mew, just because there's no way, in any sense of the word, that Milotic was going to be able to KO this Gastrodon. It would have been Mega Pinsir or it would have been Mew. So we counted it as a 3-0 victory with Mew getting the final kill on Gastrodon. But that's it. So we ended up winning our second match of the season. That evens out our record at 1-1. I'm very happy with how this match turned out. I definitely misplayed a couple turns in the very beginning with Milotic. But beyond that, I think that it was one of the better matches that I've had. I think I team built better than I usually do for this match. I was surprised by how Roserade played out. I didn't think that I was going to get 2 of the 6 kills this week. And as I mentioned in my team builder, it was such important information from Noivern that I frisked the choice band on Aerodactyl, and while Noivern didn't get to actually do anything in the match, knowing that he didn't seem to have Thunder Fang on Aerodactyl, and Milotic could live hits, but also knowing that he was choiced and he was going to have to switch anytime he locked himself into something unfortunate, was just invaluable. I probably would not have played the same had I not known that Aerodactyl was choiced, but knowing that I could switch in for free with something else was huge. And if Mew had not been carrying Energy Ball and Calm Mind, it's tough to say if I could have won this match. Mega Slowbro could have potentially walled Mew if it just had Thunder Punch, and Thunder Punch could not have hit Gastrodon at all. It would not have done any damage. It would have been, just a non-effective hit. So I think that the changes that I made at 8 o'clock on a Sunday morning were good changes. And really, I think that, I built this team very, very appropriately for this week. But also everyone sort of did at least one of their jobs, and I think that that was one area that I really wanted to improve on after last week, where it felt like really no one did their job and everyone just kind of got taken out unnecessarily. So that's all I really have to say. I hope to, in the coming weeks, do live commentary. I will be moving this week, so once I have a better setup and a different schedule, I hope to live comment the matches and or at least pre-comment my team builders. If you haven't watched any of the videos at this point, go back and watch them. Otherwise, I hope that you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you the next time around.